You have been taught to think, to reason, to analyze every detail of your life. You have been conditioned to believe that control and effort bring results. But what if I told you the opposite is true? That the more you think, the more you stand in the way of the infinite intelligence that already knows the path. The universe does not require your struggle. It does not need your constant calculations, your worry, or your doubt. It only requires your alignment. The moment you cease your mental interference and surrender to the knowing that all is already done, the universe begins to move in ways you could never have orchestrated on your own. Most people live in a state of resistance, trying to force solutions, chasing outcomes, and exhausting their minds with unnecessary thought. But thought, when misplaced, becomes the very barrier to your manifestation. The mind, when overburdened, cannot perceive the subtle nudges of the universe. So, how do you let the universe think for you? You begin by assuming that it already has. You assume that every desire, every question, every need is already known. You do not beg. You do not chase. You assume. And you trust. When a problem arises, do not ask, "How will I fix this?" Instead, dwell in the knowing that it is already resolved. When a desire stirs within you, do not wonder, "How can I make this happen?" Simply embody the state of already having it. The universe will fill in the details. There is no need to struggle. There is no need to figure it all out. The greater mind, the unseen force that governs all things, is already at work. Step back, let go, and let it think for you. You have been led to believe that your mind is the master of your reality, that through sheer effort, endless analysis, and ceaseless thought, you can shape your world as you desire. But this belief is the very thing that keeps you bound in limitation. The mind was never meant to be your master. It was designed to be a servant, a tool that responds to the deeper intelligence flowing through you. Yet, instead of using it as an instrument of creation, most people allow it to become a source of exhaustion, filling their days with doubt, fear, and worry. Look at your life. How many times have you wrestled with decisions, going back and forth in your mind, only to feel more confused? How many nights have you spent replaying past mistakes or anxiously predicting future failures? This is the mind running unchecked, taking control when it was never meant to lead. Thought, when misused, becomes a prison. It traps you in cycles of overthinking, leaving you stuck, rather than allowing the universe to work on your behalf. But the truth is simple. The answers you seek do not come from force, nor do they come from struggle. They come from stillness. They come from allowing the deeper intelligence within you, the intelligence of the universe, to flow without resistance. The moment you stop exhausting yourself with unnecessary thought is the moment you open the door to real clarity. You do not need to figure everything out. You do not need to carry the weight of every decision on your shoulders. There is a force far greater than your conscious reasoning that already knows the path. But it will not speak over your mental noise. It will not fight for your attention. You must create the space for it to guide you. Consider the moments in your life when you have experienced effortless knowing. Perhaps you have had a sudden realization, a flash of inspiration, or an inner nudge that led you exactly where you needed to be. That was not the product of overthinking. That was the universe moving through you, showing you the way when you least expected it. Imagine living from that state always. Imagine a life where decisions are made effortlessly, where guidance comes naturally, where you no longer strain to control every detail. That life is available to you the moment you surrender the need to overthink. The moment you recognize that the mind is not the source of wisdom, but merely a tool to carry out the wisdom that already exists. What then should you do when your mind races, when doubt creeps in, when you feel the urge to control every outcome? Pause. Breathe. Shift your awareness away from thought and into presence. Ask yourself, what would I know if I were already in alignment with the universe? Then let go. The answer may not come instantly, but it will come. It will arise naturally, effortlessly, without force. You do not need to struggle. The universe is already working in your favor. The same intelligence that keeps the stars in the sky and the earth in perfect motion is the same intelligence that moves through you. When you trust in that, when you cease the exhausting effort of trying to think your way to every solution, you will see how effortlessly life unfolds. Stop trying to control what was never yours to control. Your role is not to force, but to receive. Your job is not to struggle, but to allow. The universe is always speaking. Be still long enough to hear it. Let it think for you. Everything in your life, every circumstance, every relationship, every success or failure is a reflection of what you assume to be true. Whether you recognize it or not, your assumptions are shaping your world at every moment. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you assume. The beliefs you hold, consciously or unconsciously, impress themselves upon the unseen intelligence that governs all things, and in time they crystallize into physical form. Most people live under the illusion that their experiences dictate their beliefs, that they can only assume something is true once they see proof of it. But this is an error. The world is not forcing its reality upon you. You are the one shaping it through your assumptions. Your inner world precedes the outer. What you persistently assume, whether good or bad, must eventually harden into fact. This is an unbreakable law. Look at your life. What patterns continue to repeat? What struggles seem inescapable? If you look closely, you will see that these experiences are not random. They are the outpicturing of deeply held assumptions. Perhaps you assume that success is difficult, and so every opportunity feels like a battle. Perhaps you assume that people cannot be trusted, and so betrayal finds you time and again. Or perhaps you assume that life flows with ease, and so doors open effortlessly before you. Change does not begin outside of you, it begins in the realm of assumption. If you want to see something different in your life, you must first assume differently. The moment you make an assumption and persist in it, the universe begins to shift to reflect that new reality. But you must hold to it, unwavering. You cannot entertain a new assumption one day and fall back into old doubts the next. The universe is listening to the consistency of your inner state. Think of a time when you knew something would happen before it did. Perhaps you had an unshakable confidence about an outcome, and it unfolded exactly as you expected. That was not coincidence. It was the power of assumption at work. You did not need to hope, beg, or struggle. You simply knew, and because you knew, reality conformed. Now imagine using that same power deliberately. Imagine assuming wealth instead of lack, love instead of loneliness, success instead of failure. If you can persist in that assumption without letting doubt shake you, the world will shape itself accordingly. The external must follow the internal. It has no choice. But how do you shift an assumption when the evidence around you suggests otherwise? The key is to ignore appearances. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of past assumptions, and just as a mirror cannot change until you change your expression, your reality cannot shift until you assume a new state. If you continue to react to what is, you will only create more of the same. But if you assume a new reality as true, even before the world reflects it, you will set a new cause in motion. You must dare to believe in the unseen. You must dare to assume that what you desire is already yours. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Live as if it were already true in your mind, and watch as life rearranges itself to bring it into form. The universe does not operate by chance. It operates by law. What you assume, you become. What you assume, you experience. Choose your assumptions wisely, for they are the seeds of your reality. Assume greatness, assume abundance, assume love, and let the universe reflect it back to you. You have been taught that struggle is necessary, that effort and hardship are the price you must pay for success, love, and fulfillment. But this belief is the very thing keeping you from what you seek. The more you force an outcome, the further it drifts away. The universe does not respond to struggle, it responds to alignment. It responds to alignment. It responds to yourself. It responds to alignment with what you seek. The more you force an outcome, the more you respond to success, love, it responds to alignment. When you release control, when you stop chasing, when you let go of the need to force things into existence, you make room for the unseen forces to arrange everything in perfect order. Struggle implies resistance. It is the belief that you must fight against life to get what you desire. But have you ever noticed that the things you have to fight the hardest for often slip through your fingers? The person who chases love the most often finds themselves alone. The one who desperately seeks wealth seems to always lack. The harder you push, the more life pushes back. This is because struggle is rooted in fear. The fear that if you do not take control, things will not go your way. But the universe does not need your struggle. It needs your surrender. Letting go does not mean doing nothing. It means trusting. It means knowing that what you desire is already in motion, that the forces beyond your understanding are weaving the perfect circumstances together. When you act from a place of alignment rather than desperation, you move in flow with life rather than against it. Look at nature. The river does not struggle to reach the ocean. It flows effortlessly. The sun does not force itself to shine, it simply does. There is an ease, an intelligence, a rhythm that governs all things. When you detach from struggle, you align yourself with that rhythm. You stop interfering with the process and allow the universe to work in ways far greater than your mind could ever conceive. Think about the moments when things came to you with little effort. The unexpected job offer, the chance encounter that led to love, the perfect opportunity that seemed to fall into your lap. These moments did not arise from struggle, they arose from alignment. They happened when you were in a state of ease, not desperation. This is the natural way of things, and it is available to you always if you will only let go. But letting go requires faith. It requires you to release your grip on how things should unfold and trust that they are unfolding exactly as they should. It requires you to stop obsessing over when, where, and how, and simply embody the knowing that all is well. If you desire something, set the intention. Assume it is already yours, and then step back. Live in the state of already having it, rather than in the state of longing. When you do this, the universe begins to arrange the pieces. The right people, opportunities, and circumstances will come to you, not because you forced them, but because you aligned with them. You were never meant to struggle through life. The need to struggle is an illusion, a belief that keeps you bound to lack and limitation. The truth is that life responds to your state of being. When you are at peace, life reflects peace. When you trust, life provides. When you let go, you receive. So release the need to control. Stop chasing, stop forcing. Stop believing that struggle is required. Instead, align yourself with the feeling of already having, already being, already knowing. Let the universe orchestrate the how, and you will see that what once seemed distant and difficult will come to you effortlessly. In the constant noise of life, most people search endlessly for answers, seeking them outside of themselves, hoping that somewhere in the chaos they will find clarity. But the truth is, the answers you seek are not out there, they are within you, waiting in the silence, in the stillness. The universe speaks in the quiet spaces between your thoughts, but you must learn to listen. Most people do not realize that their own minds are working against them. Their thoughts run in endless circles, filled with doubts, fears, and worries. The more they think, the more tangled they become, mistaking mental noise for progress. But thinking louder does not bring clarity. It only creates more confusion. True wisdom is found not in frantic searching, but in quiet surrender, Stillness is not emptiness, it is awareness. It is the space where you become receptive, where inspiration flows without effort. When you silence the noise of the mind, you open yourself to the intelligence that moves all things. This intelligence has always been present, guiding, nudging, whispering, but it cannot be heard above the chatter of a restless mind. Consider the ocean. When its surface is disturbed, it becomes chaotic, unable to reflect the sky above. But when it is still, it becomes a mirror perfectly capturing the heavens. Your mind is the same. When it is filled with constant thought, it cannot receive. But in stillness, the answers that once seemed elusive rise effortlessly into awareness. There is a reason why the greatest revelations often come in moments of stillness, in the quiet of the early morning, in a pause between activities, in the stillness of nature. When you stop striving, when you stop forcing, you become a vessel for something greater than yourself. It is not through effort that clarity comes, but through surrender. The modern world does not teach stillness, it teaches reaction. It urges you to fill every moment with activity, to solve every problem through thought and effort. But this is an illusion. The most powerful actions arise not from mindless motion, but from deep inner knowing. When you cultivate stillness, your actions become precise, guided by something beyond mere intellect. Think of those moments when life seemed to unfold perfectly, as if guided by an unseen hand. Those were not moments of struggle, but moments of flow, when you were so present, so alive that the right answers appeared effortlessly. This is the power of stillness. It does not come from outside of you. It is always within you, waiting to be accessed. But how do you cultivate this stillness? You do not force it. You do not demand silence from the mind. Instead, you simply observe. Let the thoughts come and go without attachment. Do not resist them, but do not engage them either. Create space between them, and in that space, you will feel the presence of something greater than thought itself. This is where intuition is born. This is where true wisdom arises, not from the mind, but from the stillness beneath it. The more you practice being in this space, the more effortless life becomes. The right decisions will arise naturally. The right opportunities will appear without struggle. The path forward will reveal itself, not through force, but through alignment. You do not have to fight your way through life. You do not have to chase or struggle or exhaust yourself with endless thinking. All that you seek is already seeking you. The universe is speaking, guiding, unfolding. But it can only be heard in the quiet. Make stillness your home. Let the noise settle, and in that sacred space of silence, the answers you have been seeking will reveal themselves effortlessly. Most people live in the state of wanting, constantly longing for something that feels just out of reach. They look at their current reality and allow it to dictate what they believe is possible. But this is not how creation works. The universe does not respond to longing. It responds to being. When you align your mind with the state of already having what you desire, the universe bridges the gap effortlessly. The key is to live in the end. Do not wait for external proof before you believe. Believe first and the proof will follow. You must think from the place of already being the person who has what you seek, already living the life you desire. When you do this, the unseen forces begin to move, rearranging the circumstances of your life to reflect your inner state. Most people do the opposite. They look at what is, they dwell on the lack, and they reinforce the very conditions they wish to change. They say, I want more money, but they continue to identify as someone who struggles financially. They say, I want love, but they continue to feel lonely and unworthy. In doing so, they keep themselves stuck in a cycle of longing rather than receiving. You must abandon this way of thinking. Instead of seeing your desire as something far off in the future, assume it is already done. If you were already the person who has the success, the love, the health, the abundance, how would you think? How would you feel? How would you move through the world? Step into that version of yourself now, not later. When you do this, something remarkable happens. Your actions, your thoughts, your emotions all begin to align with this new reality. You no longer move from a place of need, but from a place of certainty. And in this certainty, the universe responds. Doors that once seemed closed begin to open. People, opportunities, and circumstances appear as if by divine orchestration. But many struggle with this concept because they are trapped by what they see. They believe they must first have proof before they can believe. Yet all great manifestations begin in the unseen. The tree was once an invisible seed. The great masterpiece was once an idea. The life you wish to live already exists in potential. You must claim it now in consciousness before it materializes. Doubt is the enemy of this process. If you waver between belief and fear, between certainty and hesitation, you delay the unfolding of your desire. The universe is precise. It reflects back exactly what you hold in your mind consistently. If you are firm in your assumption, unwavering in your knowing, then reality has no choice but to conform. This is not about wishful thinking. It is about embodying a new state of being. You must let go of the identity of the person who is still waiting. Waiting only creates more waiting. You are not becoming, you already are. The shift happens the moment you decide to claim it fully, without doubt, without hesitation. You may wonder how long it will take for your desire to manifest, but time is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is the depth of your belief. If you persist, if you refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts your vision, then it must come to pass. The universe is not bound by time, it is bound by assumption. The stronger your assumption, the faster the bridge of incidents will unfold. So stop looking for signs. Stop waiting for proof. Live in the end now. Walk, speak, and think as though your desire is already yours. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude of already having it. Let that feeling guide your every moment, and soon you will watch as the world shifts to match your inner state. The universe is not your opponent, it is your mirror. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and reality will bend to reflect it. The law of the universe is a constant, unyielding force that is always at work, whether you are conscious of it or not. It is not selective, nor does it discriminate. This law responds to your inner world, to the thoughts and beliefs you hold within your mind. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption you make creates a vibration that sends ripples out into the world, and the universe responds in kind. You may not always be aware of this process, but it is happening every moment of your life. The universe does not wait for you to be in a good mood or in a state of clarity to begin responding. Whether you are aware or not, it is listening. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions are constantly being broadcast, and the world around you shapes itself according to these inner vibrations. This means that you are the creator of your own reality. Though many walk through life unaware of the power they possess, if you are experiencing a reality that does not align with your desires, it is because your thoughts and beliefs are not aligned with what you wish to manifest. The law is always working. It is never off, never resting. When you believe that things will always be hard, that money is scarce, that love is distant, the universe will respond by giving you more of the same. The world around you will continue to reflect those beliefs, as it is simply mirroring the energy you put out. But when you change your thoughts, when you begin to align your inner world with the life you wish to create, then your outer world will shift to reflect that alignment. The key is in awareness. Most people go about their days reacting to life, allowing external circumstances to dictate how they feel and think. They give power to what they see, what they hear, and what they experience. But the true power lies not in reacting to life, but in shaping it through your inner state. When you master your thoughts, you master your world. This is not a new concept. Throughout history, great minds have taught us that the inner world dictates the outer. As within, so without is a timeless truth. Yet many remain caught in the cycle of external focus, waiting for things to change before they allow themselves to feel differently. They believe that once the conditions improve, then they can be happy, confident, or abundant. But this is the reverse of how the law works. It is not the outer world that must change first. It is your inner world that must change. Your thoughts are the seeds of your reality. When you focus on thoughts of lack, struggle, or limitation, you are planting seeds that will grow into those very experiences. On the other hand, when you focus on abundance, love, and success, you plant seeds that will bloom into those experiences. The universe does not question these seeds. It simply grows them. To align your thoughts with the life you desire, you must first become aware of what you are thinking and believing. Do you believe you are deserving of success, love, and joy? Or do you harbor subconscious doubts and fears that are shaping your reality? It is important to recognize that the law does not care whether you are consciously aware of your thoughts. It only responds to what you are consistently focused on. Changing your thoughts is not an overnight process. It requires consistent effort and practice. But as you begin to consciously align your thoughts with your desires, you will notice a shift in your life. Opportunities will arise where there were once obstacles. Relationships will improve, and new positive connections will form. You will begin to see evidence of the law working in your favor. The law is always working, whether you are aware of it or not. The world you see around you is a reflection of your inner state. To change your reality, you must begin by changing your thoughts. Align your thoughts with the life you desire, and the universe will follow. In conclusion, it is clear that the universe is always responding to the vibrations we emit from within. Our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions shape our reality in ways that are often beyond our awareness. By understanding that the law is always working, we can shift our focus from reacting to life to actively creating it. When we align our inner world with our desires, when we live in the end, detached from struggle, embrace stillness, and trust the law, our outer world will follow suit. The universe does not work in isolation. It is a perfect mirror reflecting our internal state. With awareness and intention, we can begin to see our lives transform in alignment with our deepest desires. Thank you for taking the time to absorb and reflect upon this powerful understanding. The universe is always at work on your behalf. Trust it, align with it, and watch as it brings forth the life you truly deserve.